Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Steve Breach as we continue on with Undertaker's gravest matches. The next match that was on during the show ended up being Undertaker going up against Edge in a Hell in the Cell match, which ended up being the main event of the SummerSlam 2008 show, which I came to you live from Indianapolis, Indiana. I thought that honestly, from watching wrestling at this time, this was a really, really good show. Undertaker versus Edge closing out with the Hell in the Cell definitely was a real big exclamation part on this SummerSlam. We saw Batista versus John Cena wrestle for the first time. Triple H possibly get the best match out of Great Khali's career. CM Punk versus JBL. Matt Hardy winning the ECW championship for Mark Henry. And then we also saw MVP versus Jeff Hardy in a very good opener of the show. Only the mixed tag match where Santino Marella and Beth Phoenix. It had a fun ending with them winning the championships from Kofi and Mickie James in an intergender tag match. It was what it was. The finish was good, but this was a really good show. But from just watching Undertaker versus Edge, I honestly thought this match was awesome. I really like the fact that I've been watching this slowly and not just, blazing through watching Undertaker match after Undertaker match after Undertaker match. This was a really, really good match, and definitely coming into it fresh, without watching any other wrestling. It was really, really good. This was the main event. Of course, this came from the SmackDown brand, where Undertaker spent most of his career after the brand split. And ended up, becoming the guy for that company and helping guys like Edge and Batista sort of become the flagship guys for that brand. But also having him sort of there. It's almost sort of like, when I talk about, back at WrestleMania 6, when they did the switch, when they put the title on the Ultimate Warrior. Of course, Hulk Hogan was going to still be with WWF, but he was sort of going to take a little bit of a lesser role. He was still going to be on all the pay-per-views, but he was supposed to wrestle on less of the house shows, become sort of the legend that was supporting the brand, why Ultimate Warrior was supposed to be the fighting champion who was supposed to grow into be what Hulk Hogan was at that point. That's the way I always sort of saw Undertaker on the SmackDown brand. Of course, he was always involved in a lot of major angles, and he seemed to always be around, but it wasn't like he was always in that championship hunt. There was a lot of time the other guys that were there. But this match was just basically a grudge match that's being built up all the way from the WrestleMania 24, where Undertaker and Edge were the main event. They built all the way up into this, I was going to call it a TLC match, but it basically became a TLC match inside of the Hell in the Cell, right off the very beginning of the match. Edge ends up dominating a large portion of the match. He ends up breaking out, ladders. He ends up using chairs. Very early in the match, he sets up a double table inside of one of the corners. And it's basically forgotten about for a large portion of the match. I love it when things like that sort of, come to. Maybe one of the heels goes over and rips off one of the turnbuckles, exposing the metal buckle. And the match goes on and on and on. And then finally the babyface gets this miraculous save, sending the heel headfirst into the turnbuckle. And the guy ended up creating his own doom by doing this. At one point, Undertaker was on the outside and took control of the match, only for Edge to knock Undertaker up against the corner of the cell, and then went and grabbed the ring steps, running from one side to the other, did a flying spear, jumping off of the ring steps, spearing Undertaker through the cell, fighting to the point where they would actually get on the outside of the cell. We would see Edge control most of the match on the outside, actually taking Undertaker on top of the announce tables. And at this point, they had three brands. So you had the Raw, you had the SmackDown, and the ECW tables, all, very, very long in length. And actually, we seeing Undertaker take a spear from Edge, running from one side all the way into the other. This was really, really fun. And basically, Undertaker ends up, getting the match back inside of the cell, where we see Undertaker knock Edge off of a top turnbuckle, where he would go through the two tables that he ended up stacking up himself. Once bringing Edge back into the ring, we saw Undertaker hit his own spear, followed by doing a concerto to Edge, taking him out with his own moves, then picking up Edge and delivering a tombstone pile driver where he would get the 1, 2, and the 3. We would see Undertaker take credit for his win, waving to the crowd and walking out. And as he was walking up the entrance ramp, we see Undertaker looking into the Tron, noticing that Edge still had a little bit of fight left in it, and he was starting to actually move. Undertaker turned around, went back into the ring to finish him off. Basically where Undertaker would take Edge up a ladder and then basically chokeslam him through the canvas, where Jim Ross would say that Edge had been sent to hell, and this would be the point where basically Edge would be taking out of SmackDown storylines for a while. Undertaker would then go on to start a rivalry against the rest of La Familia, which was Ryder, Hawkins, Bam, and Neely. I don't remember Undertaker having a real long feud with Bam Neely, so I don't know when this actually ended. I'm guessing that more than likely he killed them off very fast and then went in a different direction with wherever he was going. But it looks like Undertaker wasn't even on the next pay-per-view for WWE, so maybe he ended up getting injured or something, I don't know. So we'll see whatever the next match is. I've really enjoyed watching the Undertaker matches these ways, and I'm hoping you guys have enjoyed the reviews as they come.